I've said it before, and I will say it again. The most dangerous place for black people to live is in white people's imagination. Case in point, the drug that is much touted as the Trump administration and other Republicans are touting as a magic bullet, the hydrochloride, or I can't even, don't even get me trying to say that word. But it is an anti-malarial drug that is often used by people who have lupus, my mother being one of those people. It is prescribed to about 1.2 million American people. And do you know who the vast majority of those people are? Black women. So if America all of a sudden believed that this was the magic bullet and started taking that drug in mass, it would deprive black women of a drug they need to live on an experiment. But America doesn't care about that. It very rarely looks at the after effects or what happens to other people. Just like when that ditzy ass Surgeon General named Jerome showed Americans how to make a bandana into a mask in most states in America, it is illegal to cover your face with a mask. So oftentimes the prescription are worse than the virus. And can you imagine a young black man or a young brother walking through an airport or through a bank or through a grocery store? What would happen? One man's protective covering is another man's probable cause, because that is what happens. That's what happens here. Oftentimes, their prescription is worse. I watched Jerome Adams, the Surgeon General, hold up his inhaler, and he said, I use this. I was on it. I was on an inhaler, and I've had this since I was a boy. And black boys are 3 times more likely to have asthma and to die of respiratory disease than everybody. Do you know why that is? Even Jerome, because he probably lived in a black neighborhood where the environment was dirty and his lungs were compromised from the time he was a boy till right now. That inhaler he held up is a symbol of white supremacy for a lot of black and brown boys. Everything they don't want is dumped in our community. So oftentimes your lungs are compromised before you even had a chance to make any decisions. Right now, today, I grew up on 135th and Avalon. When I was a boy, I had they called it juvenile asthma, and the doctor said I would grow out of it, to the extent that every couple of years I would get bronchitis. I remember when I was 10 years old, I had to be in an oxygen tent. Even now, uh, many years later, every 2 to 3 years, I get bronchitis really badly. Was that because of things I'd done or the environment I was in? Black people almost always are the number one suspect in their own demise. Always, no matter what happens, no matter what we do. And to have a man like that sit up here and to prescribe these things that invariably have a negative consequence for us. If everybody listens to him, the whole world listens to him, and they wear bandanas, it's fine. You do it is a problem. One man's safety cover is another man's suspicion. If they get those drugs and they hoard them in mass, young black women are going to be affected by it, including people like my mother. So oftentimes the drug or the remedy is worse for us than the virus. And you have people like that to do that over and over and over again. The most dangerous place for us to live is in white people's imagination. It always has been. That man sits up there and he touts, well, I have prediabetes and I have asthma and I have borderline hypertension. All those things are a result probably of where you live. All those things are our environment. Right now, there's a report that's coming out that all the environmental changes Trump has made, so that big business gins up, there are going to be 100 to 300,000 deaths associated with that. And who do you think they will be? Where do you think all of these solvents and chemicals and factories and plants and landfills are? Where we are. And then people will one day say, well, you have this because of your personal choices. You have this because of what you've done. The most dangerous place for us to live is in the minds of white Americans. That's a little note from the GED section. We got the Jazz Report coming up in 15 minutes. It's the D.L. Hughley Show.